Good morning. Welcome to GArtience 2024. Today at this venue, along with you, I would like to have some discussions. Today, we are gathered with scientists and cultural artists, and the reason why we have to gather, and when we gather, what we should do, those points are going to be addressed at this venue, and stage and chairs also have been intentionally arranged without any barriers, and we don't have any VIP seats. And congratulatory remarks or introductory remarks have been all omitted, and all other formalities have been excluded. So from the overture of fusion to prelude to the future, you have enjoyed the stages. And without all formalities, let's get started with the last session. As I prepared for this session, one thing came to my mind. Scientists, in order to say something is possible, they continue to find the proofs, while artists, to believe something is possible, they imagine. And this is the fundamental difference between science, technology, and arts. How was the previous stage of creation? Did you enjoy? We've met the proofs of imagination, and don't you think those new potentials have been proved? First of all, for all panelists, 6 of them have been gathered here, and I would like to ask them one question. And you've watched Stage of Creation, and Professor Wohn has shared his important thoughts. And I would like to listen to your thoughts on these stages and your presentations. How would you want to start? Maybe clockwise? I would like to ask a question from Minister of Science and ICT. I would request for your short introduction, please. Good morning. From Ministry of Science and ICT, I'm from Future Talent Policy Bureau. I'm Soon-jung. So, because of my work, I think I've been invited to this venue. Today, science and arts, how would they look if they be integrated? The Professor Wohn, I've enjoyed your presentation so much. At this scene, on site, I could really feel the sense of convergence. And I was pleased to actually experience the convergence. And then, next the mic to Shin Eun-hyang, Director General for Arts Policy from Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism. I came here after Professor Wohn gave his speech. I first knew him for a while ago, and at that time, I got a lot of advices from him when I were to establish CT College of KAIST. That's been already a few decades. So this convergence between science and arts have been already been continued for at least a few decades. There are some things that have been realized, but some things that are lacking in. The performers I've watched in the previous session, I've seen the motion capturing on the screen. I really enjoy them, but the muscles, movements, and their expressions on their faces, and their eye-to-eye contact of the dancers, I think those points are what we should address more about from now on in terms of convergence of arts and science. And then, with such beautiful music, Cha In-hong, the professor from Wright State University College of Music, is joined with us. I'm from Wright State University College of Music. After this event, I am attending another one in this Daejeon. The name of Wright of the university goes Wright. So it is the brother Wright who developed airplane for the first time. So that region was where those brothers lived in. So already it is the region of the pioneers of science technology. So I'm teaching students at such university. At this precious event, thank you so much for inviting me to show my performances. I'm very honored. And then, regarding convergence of science and arts, I'm very happy to realize new boundary. Thank you so much. And then, Lee Sung-hee, the head of the Graduate School of Culture Technology. Hello, I work at KAIST. Today, art and science is well converged in CT Graduate School of KAIST. So honorably, I've been invited to this place. A lot of you have attended this event. Looking at this, I think the convergence of two sectors are not only being conducted in arts and science, but also among the audiences. And for today, I hope you have joyful time here, and thank you. Thank you. At the start, Director Bang Nam-hee of Baeknamju Art Center has given her great introduction. I first started my presentation quite nervous, but as I addressed audiences, I got to more contemplate about the spirit and convergence of two sectors. So the meeting of those two sectors is not just the sectoral issue, but we have to be more intervening in in-depth discussion among those two boundaries. And certain barriers and boundaries are not seen at this venue. So when it comes to barriers in this current era, what we should think about and some things that have been hidden behind the scenes and the silos beside them should be alleviated. That came into my mind as I participate here. And Professor Wohn as well, would you like to add some more? I would like to add 3 exclamation marks. When I established CT College at KAIST, Shin Eun-hyang, the Director General, has given her meaningful advices. So I would like to add an emoji of hearts and smiley face as well. And I would like to deliver. I'm so thankful, and I would like to sincerely appreciate her for her support. I'm great to meet here. And another heart goes to Professor Cha In-hong. His performance, I always watched him above as myself as an audience and as himself as a performance. And this venue is bigger than I thought, and it is very meaningful as well. Thank you so much for the organizers and the professors. Thank you.
So the theme of this conference is Artience. And as you well know, it's a combination of the words of art and science. And we are in Daedeok Industrial Complex, and based on the infrastructure of Daejeon City, a science city in Korea, so through convergence of science and art to create new outcome. So I think this can be a key word for this new work. So Professor Won Kwang coined this new world Artience 10 years ago. So at Daejeon Cultural Foundation, through many cooperation, they are doing many activities. And now I'd like to give you the first question. So science and art, this convergence, should we do it or we just can ignore it? So is it imperative? I'd like to listen to each presenter's opinions. I think that this is inevitable. So with the advent of science and technologies to meet humans' expectations, and I think all you agree with this opinion, in middle and high school, we learn the Maslow five-stage desires. And the basic desire is for survival and safety. Those two desires are based on the public health and basic science. And once we meet that basic desire, we need higher ones, which are social and reputation, respect. So, for social desire, the ICT has played an important role. So, in the past, we only do social connections and exchanges offline, but now on offline we are doing networking and meeting people and meeting the expectations and desires, and based on that we have a higher desire, which is the self-realization, and that is deeply connected to culture and arts. There's a saying that from middle school until 30 and 40s, people are living based on the subject, but after retirement, our lives is fulfilled with the arts and culture and arts. So at the stage of self-realization is deeply connected to music, art, and culture. And it can open a new era with the help. And the director Shin mentioned the dancers, and I'd like to briefly introduce the performance. And that performance is comprised of the graduate of our graduate schools with a professional performance. It's a collaborative performance, and it uses technology which is called the LiDAR, which is a sensor of the automated vehicle. So it captures the motion of the dancers real time, and instead of just playing it, it is applied with the generative AI. So the new motions are added on the performance, showing a new potential. So it's a new try, and not only the motions but facial expressions and very dynamic moves and emotions can also be delivered through that technology. Thank you very much for your detailed explanation. So that performance came to fresh. And next, I'd like to invite Director Soon-jung. And as Professor Lee said, the convergence of science and arts is vital. So I'd like to explain it historically. So Professor Wang Gang explained in detail, but the biggest stride that we made in human history is Renaissance. It was a great stride in art and culture, but it also made a great success in terms of science and technology. They converged with the science, knowledge, and information to make a great development in human history. And in the 20th century, well, behind the biggest growth of culture industry, there was a science and technology advent. The video technology advanced, spreading the technology to the public. And now we can see the video and the movie industry are using the new technologies as well. So I believe that with the help of artists, the science can also advance as well. The science, the information and knowledge is difficult in writing, in written text. So with the help of art, it can be very helpful for us to spread the science knowledge. And about 10 years ago, I created the documentary, which was the How Was the Earth? And it used visual images created by artists. So I think that it can create great synergy from the convergence of science and art. Thank you very much. And the Ministry of Culture, Sport and Tourism, or MCST, can have a different perspective. What about your opinion, Director Shin Eun-hyang? And I also think that the convergence is not only inevitable, but it's also embedded in our daily lives as well. So, what interactive reactions can it bring from art perspective? I think that it shows the future of science. So 2000, we talked about the cities, and I've heard about the Star Trek. So in that 1960s movie, Star Trek described the future technologies about the virtual meetings as well, but now it has become a reality. And in the 2000s, the transparent monitor was became a reality now. So all these art pieces made people easily understand the scientific technology, and it can also shows the side effects of the scientific technology. The George Orwell's The Big Brothers, and also one of my favorite movies is Blade Runner. And in that movie, Cyborg shows and makes us think and question what humanity is. And we also have to think about the solutions to these side effects. Meanwhile, the science can add the creativity in arts. So Baek video art and technology is a prime example. And now we also have the exhibition for photographers, and photographer technology is also a part of it, and video technology is triggering new creative ideas and motivation, opening a new era. So I think the convergence is inevitable and is deeply embedded in our daily lives. Thank you very much. And based on your remarks, I think that the convergence is not an option, but it's a must. And I also agree with that. But the two fields are distinctively different. So now I'd like to give you the second question, which is that which field initiated first, whether it is science or technology, or artistic creativity triggers science to go beyond its very boundaries.
So, Professor Cha, would you share us ideas? Einstein, who was the best scientist of 20th century, really loved music. His piano and violin performance was just like a specialist's professional-like performance. He was almost similar as the levels of the professional pianists at the time, and he also played together with them. And on YouTube, we can listen to his performances with only audio. I doubted at first, but when I listened to it, it was amazing, and he was extraordinary player. So, as such, he loved music, and he was good at it. Today, as I prepared for my remark today, I thought research of Einstein. He conducted so many difficult experiments and research that as he concentrated in his research, and when he faced a hurdle, he always found a breakthrough from his music. As such, Einstein already integrated arts and science, and he already knew that those two were basically from the same root. And he added that knowledge has limitation, but imagination embraces everything in the world. And also, he also said, great scientists are like great artists. So he already knew the foundation of science and art are the same. As a musician, like hundreds years ago, I conduct and play the pieces of the past, and I felt the music itself is full of imagination and freedom, but actually the pitch and harmony and rhythm, all those factors are very scientific and precise. When you don't follow such rules, then the performance cannot be beautiful. So those factors are very strict, and as a musician, we don't have much freedom actually in playing them. But it is ironic that we feel a sense of freedom when we get to play them. The classic music and the masterpieces of classic are very mathematic and scientific. They are filled with those factors, but when I was young, I didn't know such facts, but now I can realize them. So the performers always prepare precisely, meticulously, and has to be restrictive in playing them. But for the listeners and audiences, we deliver infinite sense of freedom and creativity. On the sidelines, the instruments that I play, like violin, was made 300 to 400 years ago, and today they are delivering extraordinary sounds to us. They are made with small pieces of wood, but their potentials are surprising. 300 to 400 years ago, they were made by artisans, but still they can make beautiful sounds. But today, we cannot make such great instruments. We conducted so many research in science sector to create such instruments. So, utilizing computer and science technology of today, even though we all integrate all those technologies, we cannot make as astounding and extraordinary instruments as they were made in the past. So, the size of the instruments and width of the instruments were very precise and very scientific at the time compared to today. Already centuries ago, they had astounding technology. I'm not a scientist, so I will not add more, but from now on, such science technology and arts convergence is what I'm looking forward to right now, and I wonder which outcomes will be delivered by such collaboration. And all projects and outcomes may be beyond our imagination and our innovation that we can't even look for now. Thank you. For Professor Cha, would you give a big round of applause? Today, I prepared 6 questions, and yet I have 4 more to go. Until now, we talked about the convergence of science and arts because of the keyword of this event, tech art. Actually, tech art goes beyond the science technology helping arts. The boundary between two sectors are blurred, in creating a new sector. Then I'm going to ask next question. In order for tech art to be more accessible to the general public, should it be more technologically advanced or should it be incorporated more with artistic sensitivity and empathy? Would you please press the empathy balls for me? And I would like to deliver the mic to Director Park. The question is quite difficult but easy at the same time. Because what should be coming first can be different according to the purpose. For general public, this science technology and arts convergence may be very unfamiliar, but actually from Baek Namjoon's artwork, we can be provided with some examples. In 1984, through the media of television, he conducted Good Morning Mr. Owell, and the entire world could meet such media. The only purpose was to provide the common sense of art for the people who are on the other side of the corner through this media. So scientists and artists can have their own purposes, and through that, they can actively look for directions and ways to deliver their purposes. There's also a global groove, which is a representative video art piece of Baek Namjoon, and there is a dance of fans and cello performance. So all diverse sectors are integrated in the piece. Tech art or art and tech connects all these sectors so that the general public can enjoy, and also how we can explore the approaches to be closer to the audiences. So Baek Namjoon well showed his method of his approaches to the audience. Thank you. tech art goes beyond aesthetic pleasure, but also as a tool for solving social issues. I would like to share my personal experience. In 2000s, in my lab, we first used the term robot design and started research on robot design. At the time, robots was the field dominated by engineers, but we incorporated human studies, arts, and philosophy. So, along with those specialists, we proposed and suggested new emotional robots and silver care robots preparing for aging society, and care robots that takes care of children as well. Those projects are also suggested. And the global renowned soprano Jo Soo-mi was invited as a inviting professor at CT College of KAIST, and we cooperated the AI with piano. So Jo Soo-mi played piano, and along with that, AI performed together. And G-Dragon also has been designated as an inviting professor at KAIST. So many people ask, why is G-Dragon? How come? There may be many questions. And our purpose was to incorporate state-of-art science technology into a K-pop, which is a cultural industry. So it is a new trial and new experiment. Another thing is that the ambassador of Daejeon, the world-renowned flutist Choi Na-kyung, last year collaborated with AI piano. However, when it comes to science technology, the collaboration with cultural art is not easy, so we have to be patient and we should continuously put efforts.
I'd like to invite Professor Won Kwang. Could you give us your thoughts? Do you want it long or short? It depends on you. In short, I totally agree with your opinion. To explain it longer, but I will make it brief. To the public, to make it more accessible, what is important? You just mentioned the tech art, which is the art based on technology. So that is what I understood. And based on that definition, art has always been based on technology. There was no exception, I think. From the oil painting, the linear distance, and many other arts are all based on technology. In particular, the performance art is distinctive, but rather we don't call it as tech art because technology is not visible. So the current technology art, in fact, will survive, and in the future it will not use the word technology. The important thing is that how much the creators are fully understanding and use technology on their own, and whether they use it technology as a media or tool or as a coordinator or partners, how can they fully control and coexist to make new creative arts? How well could they use technology well? I think that's the ultimate question. Thank you. And next, we have been talking about the term tech art. The tech art values in an industrial perspective, how could we create? So that's the next question. So tech art is an unpredictable technology which has great potential. So it can also be an upgraded version from the existing technologies, or it can create a new venue as a game changer. So my fourth question is that does tech art play a role in transforming existing industry frameworks, or does it focus more on creating entirely new industrial domains? So, is it about reinventing traditional industries or pioneering new industrial frontiers? So, Professor Lee, could you please share your thoughts on this? Well, Professor Wang said there technology has always been a foundation for art. With the photography, the painting is about describing the reality. So it causes the law of perspectives. But to be briefly, the bioengineering used bioart and 3D painting technologies are publicized, which causing innovations in sculpture. So many innovations are emerging, but focusing on industrial perspective, the culture are getting help from technology. So that innovation is something we should focus on. So in the past, now we watch the movie at the theater, but now we watch it through Netflix at home. So when this creative art is embedded with the AI technology, it can create more creative contents. And instead of just recording the video and showing it, but each individual can be a filmmaker to make their own art piece. And this is possible in the future. So I dare to say that within 5 to 10 years, an individual made film will be shared and publicized. So all this new type of work can come from the convergence of science and arts, broadening the boundaries of the two fields. Okay, I will conclude my remarks due to the time constraint. And next, I'd like to listen to Director Bang Nami. As just Professor Lee, I will continue his thought. Baek Nam-jun said that 1973 that each individual can be an artist, and this has become a reality. And he showed that prophecy in his arts, and this new trend is reality. And science and technology is based on each industries. Baek Nam-jun made a prophecy on 5 technology. First is internet, the advent of internet, and second is video art, and third, the climate crisis, and fourth, the e-media will be globalized as a global media, and fifth, the smartphones. So these 5 technologies in terms of science, art, and industry, they're all connected, intertwined each other. Now we have seen every corner of our daily lives. So this triggers the creativity of artists and realization of science technology, creating new models and making us to think about the future. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to invite Director Hong Soon-jung. All the previous panelists mentioned the convergence of science, technology, and arts and how it have triggered the innovation. So I don't know the technology part well, but one of the areas of the scientists, they are transmitting the five senses technology through ICT. So all the cultural areas are based on visuals and audio, but with that, the feelings and the taste technology are also in progress. So with that technology's advent, the culture and art industry can be more abundant, which can lead to the transformation of the existing frameworks. So as more technology advances, it can be boundless, expanding the boundaries. And Director Shin also would like to add on something. So when I first saw this question, I thought it's inevitably break the existing framework because photography broke the concept of the painting and it was a starting point as a conceptual art. So this breakthrough technology, to make it sustainable, it needs industrial application. So technology can try new things, as we have seen the new performances. So this all new tries can be applied with the new technologies, but it can be expanded to 1 to 2 hours, and it can be driven by the strength of the story and technology, which can draw many audience, and in turn it leads to consumption of arts. So to achieve that, we need that industrial perspective analysis. How can all the arts lead to the motivation of the people to use that and consume the culture?
Looking at the process of the formation of this tech art, something interesting question comes up to my mind. So, who takes the lead in this surprising convergence? When creator takes the lead, then the direction will be more sensational and artistic, but when technologist takes the lead, then it will be innovative and evolve into a stronger tool. Then the fifth question would be, do you think that technologists should take the lead in tech art rather than the creator? So yes, tech art moves with technology, so is the technologist. No, ultimately, it's the creator's emotional expression that drives tech art. This question may be a little bit difficult for you. Maybe we will start with Professor Cha. Actually, the question is not that difficult. Technology and art, those two sectors should both take the lead, and it is inevitable. Two sectors should have powers, and when they collaborate, the outcome would be the best. tech arts and arts convergence, both of them having power will enable the high quality of performance arts and communication with the audiences. So, to make it happen, those two sectors, both of them should have some power and take the lead. Thank you. Scientists, and currently at KAIST CT College in cultural technology, new pathway has been pioneered by Professor Lee. What do you think? Usually, we always think and separate technologists and artists, and the trend is being aggravated. Because technology has been regarded as a very difficult one from the past, and in terms of creativity as well. And art as well, without being educated, we cannot understand them thoroughly. Despite the facts, what moves people is art, and on the foundation lies the technology. So technological artists' role is very important. They all have understanding of arts and also have high quality knowledge of arts. Those technical artists have technology and develop technology that artists want, and when there's new technology, then they can deliver those technologies to the artists so they can play their role as a bridges. So I hope Korea could nurture such talents. For last, in order to nurture the potential of the future of tech arts, so which role is more important between the government and private? Today, tech art blurs the boundary between science and arts, and it creates new values, and it lies at the center of innovation. Technology and arts meet at this point, and this new genre goes beyond creation and industry, but it enhances national competitiveness and has a potential to change the future society. Then next comes the next question. In order to open up a real future in terms of tech arts, so is the political support from the government is more important, or creative challenge from private sector is more important? So to sum up, among the roles between government and private sector, which one is more important to nurture the potential of tech arts? Maybe Professor Lee first. Both of them is important for sure, but in terms of government, they should make the framework and support. In terms of cultural arts and R&D, for now, we are centered on technology when it comes to supports. So those supports also should be directed to arts. In that sense, the R&D should provide a venue for the cooperation between artists and technologists. Other than that, the current R&D is being supported by the agreements, and it is rather top-down than bottom-up. This hinders the potential of arts. There is a risk. So, some of the process should be transformed into bottom-up process. Thank you for your thoughts. Representing the government, I would like to ask this question to the Director General Shin. In order to develop K-Tech art, what is the opinion from the Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism? So as he said, I think there are unique roles of private and governments. In terms of the convergence between two sectors, what enhances the competitiveness is the private challenge and innovation. That is the starting point and at the same time the destination. But among the process, the government should provide infrastructure-wise supports. In the previous, you have mentioned one-person media. and anyone can become a media creator. So when we utilize AI, then massive amount of data to train AI is needed. It requires a lot of cost and massive amount of DB creation is required. And a single individual or private sector find it difficult to create such foundation. You may think that our ministry is not anywhere in this discussion, but in all difficulties or crisis moments, computer and cars should train with massive amount of data. So this massive scale of infrastructure, if is put for private sector, it is difficult. So the government should be in charge. When it comes to global market, our arts are kind of at the minor section. So in the process of new convergence, and when we are to integrate some Korean traditional aspects of the arts, then we also should collaborate and provide support. And last, Director General Hong, I would like to ask you about the trend of the policy of the Ministry of Science and ICT. I myself as well have similar opinion with the previous Director General Shin. I think creativity is very important in this area, centered on creators or centered on scientists. There should be leading policies to support them, and the government should serve as a backbone. So this is not the role that only our ministry can play, but in other areas as well, R&D sector. When it comes to convergence of two boundaries, they don't have much discussions table to talk about. So the first step for the government is to provide such venue to negotiate and have discussions. And the role of the government to protect the creator is very important. And when there's a newly created industry, there are many old regulations that does not meet this new circumstances. So we should also consider deregulation in the area, and that's the role that the government should play.
Thank you so much. On behalf of the government, the two directors gave us the new perspectives, and I believe that it can innovate the convergence of science and art. And Professor Won Kwang, could you give us your thoughts? It's the question to ask a child, do you like mother or father more? So we have those working in private sectors, and they do their work with affection. So at this place, I would like to express our requests and expectations for the government. I think the government is very important in the context of Korea. Already in 1999, the government presented a great vision, which was the next generation growth industries. They gave us 5 ITBT, NT, NT4 Nano, and ET4 Energy. And the last one surprised people was CT. That was very innovative. Back then, cultural industry from a government perspective, it's a subject of regulation, not a subject of promotion. So it was a paradigm shift. So now, based on the K contents, we are seeing the culture and arts industry's growth. So the government's agenda setting and the implementation strategies are very important, not only for the businesses, but creators, but all the stakeholders. But from this event, I think that the government from Ministry of Science and Culture, they all know. But the problem is the Ministry of Finance, because they analyze and allocate the budget for every year, and they have different perspective. Not only the two industry from Ministry of Culture and Science, but we have to meet the government officials from the Ministry of Finance and convince their ideas and perspective on the cultural and art industry. And we need more budget from the government. That's very important as well. So from this dialogue, I hope that the convergence of science and arts are not mere ideal. We all reaffirm that it can be a driver for the growth. So tech art is a new industry, a new society, and it can also be at the center of an innovation for our country. As the vision of the G-Art, Korea will be the center of the tech art in the world. I hope it will come true. And I'd like to extend my appreciation for all the participants. And looking ahead, the G-Art can be sustainable and exert good influence. I hope that it will become a platform for innovation. This concludes the first session. Thank you very much.